We are rolling.
Okay. Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and welcome to our weekly nursery tour. Today we're going to stay in Greenhouse 1 here at the nursery because if you remember, this is the greenhouse that has the first set of annuals and it is filled and we have got gorgeous color. So stay tuned because we're going to walk through and look at all of these beautiful plants. Before we get too far into the nursery tour, I do want to address, as most of you know, on Monday our online store went live and y'all responded amazing and we've got lots of fantastic orders to fill. But there was one kind of common theme of a question throughout the whole process. There was two, so I want to address both of them. First of all, it was like pot size. So when you're looking at a specific plant, at the bottom it will tell you what size container you're purchasing. Some of them will have two options, but most of them just have one. For the vast majority, if I not say dare, like 95% of all of the Proven Winners annuals, they are in a what they call a 4.25 grande pot. This is what Proven Winners puts their annuals in, so they measure it, it's 4.25 inches. So this is the size container that you're gonna get when you order from us. It's not a bare root, it's not a plug. You're gonna get a nice full plant. I mean, like gorgeous, okay? So there are a few plants that will come as quarts, and that is determined by Proven Winners. They tell us what to put in a quart. A quart is just slightly larger than the 4.25. It's just a little fatter on the top. So this is the Berry Treasure strawberry, and Proven Winners tells us to put it in a quart-size pot. So the strawberries are in a quart-size pot, and then the caladiums will be in a quart-size pot. So 4.25 versus a quart. So there you go. Then the main question was with the perennials, a trade gallon versus a premium gallon. They are still technically both considered gallon containers. The trade is slightly smaller than the premium. Again, you can see the difference. The trade is a little skinnier. And then up top, let me show you that way. If we can do it that way, if that helps. You can see that the trade here with the Brunaria is just a little bit smaller than the Heaven Sent of this guy. So speaking of, this is the Heaven Sent. It is a oh shoot, Jacob's Ladder. What is it called? It's the common name. Yes, Jacob's Ladder. I did it right. And so you can see that it is blooming. I mean, gorgeous. Look at that. So this is going to be, especially if you're in those colder zones, because it's only really good for like a zone 7. So we're on the borderline, but this is a great shade perennial. So I digress a little bit, but you can tell the difference between a trade and a premium. So I think that kind of covers that aspect. Also, we had a ton of questions on when are the plants going to ship. Are we going to ship the plants as soon as you order them? No, we're not. This is where it comes in because we are the grower retailer. I know that my sweet folks up in zone 5 and 4, if I were to send you really any of these plants, you're going to have to take care of them inside because it's way too cold for you to put them outside. Surely for your annuals, we're not going to ship you your plants until after your last frost date. So you don't need to worry about that. We will take care of it. We will ship them to you when the weather conditions are appropriate and you have a nice big size plant. So we're going to take care of you. Do not worry. With that being said, this video, of course, we're going to go through all these annuals that are in here so you can really kind of get a more in-depth look at them. Now that they're blooming, you can really see what they look like. Make your plans accordingly. If you see something you like, of course, go to the website, go ahead and make your purchases. But also for my southern folks, my sweet southern friends who are in a zone 8 or higher, so my zones 8, 9, 10, and if you're in 11, this video means that the plants that you see today, as long as the weather conditions are appropriate, we can go ahead and ship these to you now. Because especially with the petunias, the super bells, they can go outside and easily handle temperatures in the upper 30s where you don't have to cover them. If it goes below, say like 37, you can just put a light sheet over them or bring them into the garage if they're in a pot, and they will do great because your Supertunias and your super bells are more cold tolerant than say like a Coleus is. So these can go ahead and get shipped out to you now. So if you're in a warm zone, my my sweet friend Annette in Texas, if she needs some plants, I can go ahead and ship them to you. Florida, California, Southern California, all those folks. So if you see something and you like it, we can go ahead and ship it to you now. With that being said, let's talk about some plants. All right, so I am right here, and I keep touching and picking up my plant here. Let me get you one that has, well, nope, that's not. See, that's the thing, when they get to this size, you're like, you think you know which one has a flower attached to it, but you don't. So this is Snowdrift. This is Supertunia Vista Snowdrift. You will remember that the whole series, the Vista series, are the most vigorous trailing growing petunias that Proven Winners makes. And there's 5 colors in this series. We have them all. These do fantastic in your landscape. And for my southern people, the sooner you can get them into your landscape before the heat hits, the better, because their roots get to be established. So once the heat hits, you're not going to have to be out there watering them as much as you would if you planted them in the heat of the season. So the Snowdrift is stunning. I mean, it's gorgeous. Look at this. Like, this one plant has 3 on it. Look at that. It makes a huge impact. So if you're looking to bring just that pure white bloom, Snowdrift is the way to go. Then of course you cannot go wrong with bubblegum. Bubblegum is that classic pink bloom, absolutely gorgeous. Jenny's going to be using this in a lot of her landscape this year. This is like the industry standard. I mean, bubblegum set the bar, and she set it really high. So it is great. Again, if you have a big container, it can go in that. If you have a nice big hanging basket, it can go in that. Landscape does great. This is Paradise. Let's see where the blue, okay. Paradise is another Vista. They call this like a watermelon pink. It's a little bit more iridescent than the fuchsia, but it just has that gorgeous hot pink color to it. All the Vistas can easily be interplanted with one another. So if you want to do a white pink theme, you can certainly do that. Again, look at this. Look at that. That's the difference between buying from the grower. This plant is ready to get out. She is ready to go. She is well rooted. She is a happy plant and ready to come home with you. I don't know that we have any fuchsias in here right now, but fuchsia, just know, is still that nice hot pink, not quite as watermelon red. Like, they're really hard to tell apart, but that is another great one. And then we have Silverberry, but I think Silverberry is down there, so we'll get her. No, Silverberry's right here. Snowdrift, Silverberry. Silverberry's not blooming yet. It's all right. Super bells. So super bells, this is a super bell, and you can kind of tell a difference between a super bell and a Supertunia. Look at the leaf size. So this is a petunia, and then the yellow is the super bell. The petunia has a little bit of a fatter leaf to it. So if for some reason you're out and there's not a label on something and you're trying to figure out what's the difference between a petunia and a super bell, petunias typically will have a little bit of a larger leaf on it. Super bells, though, you can really treat them just like petunias because they do great in containers and hanging baskets and window boxes. They don't, remember, I keep telling you this, they don't like to be in the ground because they don't like to have wet feet. So especially with us, with our really clay soil that holds water, they don't like it. I suppose if you had real sandy soil that drains really well, you could put it in the ground, but as a general rule, don't put super bells in the ground. This is Lemon Slice. Lemon Slice is just, I mean, she's just a ray of sunshine. That's just all there is to say about that. And then we have, oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this pop of color. This is Rising Star. And Rising Star is another beautiful bicolor. She has got that pink and white stripe with a yellow throat, big pop of color. These do great in containers. And I will also say, Proven Winners has an amazing website. So let's say you really like the Rising Star and you want to make a container, but you're not sure what to put with it. Go to provenwinners.com, put in Rising Star, come to her homepage, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there'll be like a little green tab and it says combos, combinations, something like that. Click on that, and they have all these different combinations where they use this in containers, and it tells you exactly what those other plants are, so you can put them together. I have used that a bunch. You just go and you use it, and you'll come up with these creations that you never even thought of. So we got tons of these guys. Holy Cow, they're so fun. Holy Cow is a great little that whole series. The Holy Cow is it's very similar to Rising Star. But again, that pink bicolor with the white striped and the yellow, the whole Holy series is really fun. Holy Moly's in here somewhere. All sorts of great things. Then we have Dreamsicle, Collinol Clemson fans. Dreamsicle makes an amazing hanging basket. It makes a stunning container. I love to do Dreamsicle as a monoculture. So monoculture means, mono means one, culture means plant. So it's one plant in a container. Now I may put 3 or 4, depending on my container size, in there, but it's that same massive pop of color because it's all the same plant, and it makes this huge impact even from a great distance away. Dreamsicle does great in that. I mean, any of them will do it. I've just personally done Dreamsicle several times because it is that gorgeous Clemson orange color. So we use that a lot. Here we go. Here's Holy Smokes. I told you that Holy series is really fun. So Holy Smokes is a purple and white with a little bit of a yellow throat to it. So it's just a beautiful, so if purple is your jam instead of pink, that is a great one to do. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything over here. Now, they're not blooming right now because they're a little bit, as far as the vistas, some of the vistas tend to be some of my early bloomers, but this is the mini vistas. So let's talk about what is the difference between a mini vista and a regular vista. This is Mini Vista Indigo. Again, right now it's not blooming, but it does have some buds on it. The minis are still a great spreading petunia. Of course, all these need at least that 6-hour mark. Like if you can give them at least a good 6 hours of direct sunlight a day, that's what you need for your blooms. But the mini vistas are more compact. So this trails only up to like 18 inches, whereas the Vista may go like 36 inches. So they're more tight and naturally compact. This Mini Vista Indigo is the best, most gorgeous plant I've ever seen because it starts out with this gorgeous kind of this purple blue color, and anyway, as the flowers mature, they change color. So on the same plant, you'll get this variation of color. Stunning, absolutely stunning. And because it is a petunia, you can put it in the ground. So there's a whole series of the mini vistas. We have the Mini Vista Indigo, white, Violet Star. I mean, there's tons of them. So just go on the website and put in those guys and you will see them. Another sweet little guy, and this is really cold tolerant, are the Osteos. So let me show you two. So this is Bright Lights Yellow and Bright Lights Double Moon Glow. So just like, you know, petunias, these are still the same variety of species of plant, but they are a different varieties. Same species, different variety. These are really cold tolerant. They do great. That sweet little daisy-like flower on them. I mean, they're just so sweet, great. Obviously, they do great in containers, and you can put them also in the landscape. So if you need a little pop of color, Easter is early this year. So if you're looking for a little pop of color to put in your landscape, especially my southern growers, then this would be a great one to do. Here we have the Petunia of the Year, Annual of the Year. Again, I told you this is that mini series. This is the Pink Star. Look at that. So this is really sweet white and pink bicolor stripe. That is a great one. Royal Velvet is not blooming right now, but if you need a deep, dark purple petunia in your life, then you cannot go wrong with Royal Velvet. Truly, when this plant is blooming, the petals look like velvet because they just look that deep, rich, gorgeous color. I mean, stunning, absolutely stunning. Look at this. So this is still that osteo. So this is the Bright Lights White. So we have got colors for you galore in those osteos. So whether you need it a white, a pure yellow, or somewhere in between, we have got them. Just beautiful. And such a healthy plant. Like, look at this plant. Look at that. So when you order from us, this is the kind of plant that you're going to receive. This is what makes the difference with a proven winner plant and ordering from a nursery that grows their plants. Like this, I don't know what to say, right? You need this. You're not going to find this in a lot of places. Next, I mean, Old Faithful right here is Lemon Coral Sedum. This was the annual of the year last year, I believe, for a very good reason. And at first you think, well, it doesn't even flower. Like, why is that the annual of the year? Because it's so extremely versatile and it's so hardy and it's so low maintenance, but it makes this massive difference. Remember, I use these in my landscape over there near the house at this great border. They are going to be a perennial up to zone 7B, yeah, 7A. So mine in the ground has lasted 2 years. However, this winter we did get some nights that were really cold, like consistently, and it zapped it. So I think if I were to leave it, it would come back and it would do fine. It's just, does Jenny want to wait that long, or do I want to switch it up and do something different this year? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But lemon coral does great in the landscape, obviously. In containers, if you plant it on the edge of a container, it will spill over. It is fantastic. Here we have, Christine's being my camera lady. She's doing such an amazing job today. Here is, oh my gosh, the Picasso. Look at this. If you are not familiar with this beautiful Supertunia Picasso, let me introduce you. This makes a stunning hanging basket. It makes a stunning monoculture container in the landscape. I mean, that is just, that Picasso in purple. Like, look at that. Again, absolutely gorgeous. So beautiful. And you've got roots. So it's nice and well rooted, so you know that it's ready to come home with you. Just a great one. Here's Bordeaux. Bordeaux is another Supertunia. She's not quite blooming yet. Petunias will bloom at different times, just like any other flower. So some are early, some are mid, some are late. But again, look at that nice, healthy plant. Really gorgeous, really. The hanging basket all of a sudden just started shooting water out of it. It's never boring with Christine and I. Oh, Lousy bee. Dear heavens to Betsy.
I thought I was getting peed on.
That was a little inappropriate, hanging basket. Let's not do that next time. Okay. Oh no, it's staying in. We're keeping that one. Okay, so this is one of those proven accents. Now, again, this is not gonna flower, but you don't need a flower when you've got this kind of foliage. Look at the color on that, the texture on that. This is gonna be 6 to 10 inches tall. This is silver bullet. It is an artemisia. It is just, you want to talk about making a massive impact. And then again, even for us, like it's a perennial in zones from 5 to 10. We're selling it as an annual, but for you warmer folks, I mean, zone 5, it can still be a perennial. Some people will call this like Dusty Miller, that kind of thing, but it's gorgeous. I mean, you can use it, it's so versatile. So let's mosey back up this way. And we'll go on the other side because there's so many great things to look at, and it smells really good in here. Like it has that great greenhouse smell of the potting soil, but then it also has, because the flowers are starting to bloom, it just smells so good. This is a really fun grass. So it is an annual grass, fiber optic. It's going to be a low grass, but it's called fiber optic. I don't know, Christine, if you can see on the tips of each of the little stems, there's a little bud, is the best way I can call it. So it has that little glow like a fiber optic cable does. Really great, only 10 to 14 inches tall. I think I'm going to use this in the patio in those urns, the unique stone urns, because again, Proven Winners has this gorgeous combination using that. Anyway, we'll see. going back to foliage, here we have the proven winners. This is another accent. This is a Helichrysum. This is icicles. Has that same kind of coloration as the Dusty Miller, the Silver Bullet, but it's more of an upright. It's gonna be 8 to 16 inches tall. Just beautiful. It kind of reminds me of a lavender, the look of a lavender plant. Obviously it's not going to flower like lavender, but it just has that look, to me at least, if that's what that is. Do we want to switch and you go first? All right, now talking about salvias. So Proven Winners has this great series. It's the Rockin' series of salvias. So these are going to be annuals. So this is the Blue Suede Shoes. Blue Suede Shoes does a gorgeous true blue flower. Hummingbirds, pollinators go nuts over it. And just like all salvias, because it has that, it's a rough texture, kind of has a herby smell to it, they tend to be a little bit more deer resistant. So if you have deer that are a problem, the Rockin' series of salvia might be a great option for you. New for us this year is the Play in the Blues. So Play in the Blues has a little bit of a different leaf color. So you can see a little bit, the Rockin' here is a little bit deeper, whereas the other one is just a nice true green bloom on it. They're not going to be quite as tall, just a little bit of a different look to it. Still an absolutely fantastic plant. Each of those salvias have different pluses and minuses. There's not a better one. There's not one that's like the best. It's what's your personal preference and how are you going to use it in your garden? What color do you need? So forth. So another, we did a lot of accent pieces right now because that's such a vital part of your containers. So this is another Helichrysum. This is white licorice, and you can see it has a totally different look than the icicles. So it has a fat leaf on it, has a little bit more upright. Once it gets some weight, it'll go ahead and trail over. 8 to 12 inches. When you're looking at this, it just has a really neat texture. So this is something that I would definitely add to hanging baskets, window boxes, containers, all of those great things. Then there's one more Helichrysum. These are interesting. They're coming, this is our first year growing these. This is Licorice Splash. Now they did just get water this morning, but this has more of a green in the center with a white cream edging to it. It's kind of hard to tell when it's wet, but there you go. And it has that upright look to it. So it's not going to be a trailer. It's definitely going to be an upright one, and you can tell that that is its habit right now. Of course, we have the succulents. So if you're going to be here at the nursery, we have the succulents available for purchase. We're not going to ship these this year. We're just going to kind of hang on to them here at the nursery, sell them here. I did that video just the other day with those. Now, Diamond Snow. There's a whole series of euphorbias that I love from Proven Winners. There are 3 plants in the series. This is Diamond Snow. Diamond Snow, look at that. We have not pinched this, and we don't use growth regulators. So this is its natural habit. Really tight, really dense white flowers. So the Diamond Snow is going to be 12 to 18 inches tall, which is roughly about the same height as the Diamond Frost. Diamond Frost is a lot more airy and open. Diamond Snow is really tight and compact. So in a container, if you need a big solid pop of white, you want to go with Diamond Snow. If you want to go for that wispy, airy, interplay twine look, you want to go with Diamond Frost. Again, there's not a one that's better or worse. They're just different. So different applications, different ways. As a side note, on my front porch, I'm going to have 16 inches. I think there's, no, 20 inches. I think they're 20-inch hanging baskets, the cocoa line baskets. I'm going to fill it full of Diamond Snow, and I'm going to have these massive white hanging baskets on my front porch, because my front porch is a weird in that it doesn't get sun till late in the afternoon. The petunias don't do really well long term there, but this is a lot more shade tolerant than the petunia is. So we're going to go with this in my hanging baskets this year. Now, Lantana. All right, calling all southern growers. Here we go. we have got Lantana for you. So first I'm going to show you the tags so you can see we've got Luscious Marmalade and then Luscious Pink Berry Blend. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them, as long as my camera lady agrees with me. And there are your colors. Now, the Lantanas have different heights, different widths. So if you see a color, go to the website and look. So like the Marmalade is a 12 to 18 inch tall, whereas the Pink Berry is going to be a 20 to 24. So you can even tell by their habit right now that the Pink Berry is going to be a little bit more vigorous. Again, all depends on how you're going to use it. So the Pink Berry is gorgeous. I mean, it's just stunning. A Vobulus. Now, you might look at this Vobulus and you're like, well, Jenny, that's like, why is it so tiny compared to like the Supertunia? The Supertunias were much bigger. Why is your Vobulus so small? Well, the Vobulus is so small because it loves it hot. Hot, hot, hot. And we're just not keeping the greenhouse hot enough just for the Vobulus, because if we keep it hot enough for the Vobulus to go crazy, then the petunias and the super bells will really go nuts. So my southern people, if you do not have a Vobulus in your life, you need this. This is actually a type of morning glory. And if you're in the South, you know how well morning glories do. But this is not going to be an invasive, what we think of as a morning glory, where it's a pesky weed. These are gorgeous, very drought tolerant. They drink the sun. They don't really like to be fertilized. Low maintenance. They make these gorgeous blue carpets. You know, you need it in your life. Moving on down, the this one is not blooming, but with the Lantana, this is brand new this year, the Red Zone. So if you will remember and go back, I'll link it up here. When we did my top favorite new plants for 2021, the Luscious Red Royale Red Zone was one of my favorites. A gorgeous, true red Lantana. Makes this perfect mound. It's exquisite. Another one of my all-time favorite plants, Forever and Ever Almond, is the Surefire Begonias. This is Surefire Red. The Surefire Begonias, they come in red and rose. I have a rose right here that I'll show you in just a second so you can see the difference. But what's so great about them is they do sun or shade. Once established, they're very drought tolerant. They go all the way to a hard freeze. So for us Southerners, that means like it could be almost close to Thanksgiving before they really get zapped. In the landscape, they can easily get to be 2 feet tall. Very drought tolerant. I love them in containers. If you do a big mass swath of this, I mean, it is gorgeous. So this is the red, and then here is rose. So let me just put them. So the only thing is the growing, I mean, like the color on the plant. Growing conditions are the exact same, the size is the same. The red has that, it's not a true red, so it has a little bit more of a pink undertone, but that really pretty green leaf to it, whereas the rose is a true pink with a deep, dark foliage to it. Again, both are just gorgeous. You need the Surefires in your life. So my Southern people, these are definitely ready to go to send you now. Another highly popular last year, oh my word, could not keep this in stock, is the Silver Falls Dichondra. So again, this is another proven accents. This is going to be a trailer. It does not get very tall. It only says like 2 to 6 inches, which 6 inches is kind of pushing it, but it trails like you would not believe. If you were to put this in a hanging, let's say we had this in a hanging basket, by the end of the season, I mean, no joke, it would be this long. And if you put them in a hanging basket and you put like 3 of them together, what's really neat is you have 3 and then they spill over and then they come down and it has that like a jellyfish kind of look to it. It's really neat. I had this in the wheelbarrow over there by the bridge last year, and when we sold out, like I literally had, it happened more than once. People, and I said, I'm sorry, you know, we're sold out of that. We won't have any more this year. And people were saying, can't I just grab a handful of yours and take it home? Please don't ask me that. I love y'all dearly, but please don't ask me that. All right, I've already showed you one time as far as like the size wise, but let me show you again. And this was our #1 seller on Monday when the website opened up. This was the top selling plant. is the Strawberry Buried Treasure Red. So we have our first little bloom here, and these are ever-bearing strawberries, which means it's not going to be like what we think of, like there's a strawberry season. These guys will produce fruit all season long. And I know I just planted mine last year, but listening to Laura from Garden Answer, she said, you know, the first year they do good, right? But she said it's the second year, once you get them in the ground, that they really take off. They're more prolific and your fruit is bigger. So this year I'm hoping to get a little step up. For us last year, it was more like a snacking thing. We would just go out, and if there was one ready, we would pick it and eat it. It wasn't that I didn't have enough planted that I said, oh, I can, you know, make strawberry shortcake out of it, right? So that's just an interesting little side note on that. Moving down, Citrus Blend Lantana, yet another Lantana. So this is Citrus Blend, whereas the Marmalade was like 12 to 18 inches, I think. This is 12 to 20. So it's going to be a little bit more vigorous, but that really still orange and yellow flower on it. Deer resistant. Lantanas are notoriously deer resistant because they are rough and they have that smell to it, that herbaceous smell. Now this is one that I am really excited about. This is Lamian. This is the pink, I'm probably, Chablis. Okay, so my international friend is saying Chablis. Is that French?
I think so.
We think so. So we're going to pretend it's French. If you know it, you can really just correct me because, you know, it's okay. But maybe. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I digress. Lamian, pink Chablis is gorgeous. Obviously, it's going to be a trailer. It is going to be, as far as sun goes, sun to shade. So I always knew Lamian as a shade plant because my mama uses it as a ground cover underneath her pine trees. This is going to be more sun tolerant. Again, gorgeous in hanging baskets, window boxes, ground cover, you name it. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's really going to be a perennial, especially for you cold folks. So it's going to be a perennial in zones 4 to 8. So we're selling it as an annual, but you can grab it as a perennial for you colder folks. You warm folks, go ahead and grab this because clearly it does well in the cold temperatures, and it's just a beautiful foliage color to it. And you can like just look and see how vigorous they are, and when you have a big group of it together, how stunning it is. Just a really fun plant. And then over here we've got some grasses. This is the Blue Mohawk. So it looks very much like chives, has that look, but it's a lot stiffer than chives. So very, very upright, will get nice and full. Your mound just gets bigger as the season goes on. So this is going to be a great one to use in a container. If you need something with some height, you don't want to have to really think hard about it, the Blue Mohawk would be a great way to go. I think we about covered it all. Yes, we feel good? Okay. Because you know, Jenny can sit here and talk about plants all the live long day, but we have covered this. So if you are, especially you're warmer folks, go ahead and get these ordered. We'll get them sent out to you so you can start enjoying some spring weather. My cold weather folks, don't worry. I know that a lot of you are still covered in a lot of snow. Hang in there. I promise spring is coming. It always comes every year faithfully. Maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later, but it always comes. So just hang in there. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for all of your support, your encouragement, your kind words, your patience with the website. There was a couple of little glitches. Some of you were kind enough. You did just what I asked. I said, if there's mistakes, just let me know, and you did. You were so sweet about it. So thank you so much. We just can't tell you how much our family appreciates your love and encouragement and support. So from our family to you, thank you so much. Y'all have happy gardening. Get out there, even if it's in the snow and you have a warm, like a sunny day, just go out there and like in all of your clothes and just soak up the sun on your face. Just do it to make you feel better. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye, friends.